This video is going to be shorter than normal, but I need to say this. Animation is underrated. It seems like every video essay channel tells you this. There's a reason movies like Toy Story took over the world by storm in 1995, and movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse still amaze audiences today. But what you never realize is how unbelievably underrated and underutilized this medium is. The first ever movie made was 1888's Round Hay Garden Scene. Sure, it's just only over 2 seconds long, but this is the earliest surviving movie. The rise of Hollywood didn't happen until the 1900s, when movies became more accessible to make. These movies were all silent films, but they were all the rage. Actors like Charlie Chaplin became popular fairly quickly because of the fast rise of movies. Then the 1920s rolled around, and talkies became all the rage, as dialogue finally was synchronized with the picture.
Who's looking at you, kid?
Hollywood was pumping out hundreds of movies in this time period. While Hollywood was releasing really only black and white movies, animation was first started in 1917 in Argentina. Now, this movie isn't really known for being the first animation movie. Just like The Wizard of Oz isn't the first color movie, but rather the first widely viewed color movie. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't the first animation movie. Snow White was released in 1937 and was the first animation movie to be released in color. This movie, when adjusted for inflation, is one of the 10 highest grossing American films of all time. Walt Disney didn't stop there, releasing Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi all within 3 years of each other. There's a reason these movies are widely known today, because these were monumental in the film industry. The Wizard of Oz was the first widely watched color movie in 1939, 2 years after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The problem with animation at the time is that it was tedious work. The animators had to draw every frame by hand and match the art style of everyone else. The late 1930s into the 1950s was dominated by Walt Disney Animation Studios. They had an absolute monopoly on the animation style. But the problem was, all these movies were children's movies. The accessibility to make animated, mature films was not easy at all. The cost to make a regular film was already enough, but buying entire crews to draw the film was time-consuming and expensive, so no one dared to take the leap. Also, the hand-drawn movies looked and related to kids' audiences because children's books were being hand-drawn. The familiarity of children's books transitioned into animated movies perfectly because it just made sense for the time. Today, as traditional animation is being phased out for 3D animation that tries more and more to look like it was shot on actual cameras, we still haven't moved past this problem. All animated movies are made for kids. Well, this isn't entirely true. Sure, Sausage Party and other horrible films are animated and not made for kids, but the majority of these films are made for kids. The closest we've gotten to a good animated movie not made for kids is Rango. Yes, this is made for kids, but I firmly believe the intended audience is adults. This movie is dark as hell and was made by Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon? Really? Nickelodeon make Rango? Now we get to movies like Spider-Verse, which I absolutely adore, but it fully intends to draw in kids with its art style and lighter tone than real-life Spider-Man movies. But why is animation only made for kids? Well, it comes down to money. No one wants to take the risk to jump from movies like The Grand Budapest Hotel to make Fantastic Mr. Fox. Okay, so Wes Anderson kind of breaks this rule, but also the box office didn't do too hot for him anyways, so. But you don't see the Quentin Tarantinos or the Steven Spielbergs of the world jumping ship to make the next Lego movie. They see this as a step down, but it shouldn't be. Animation shouldn't be reserved for kids' movies. Beauty and the Beast, Ratatouille, The Lion King, Toy Story, all these movies and more prove that no matter the medium, a good movie can be made. And when we go to the live-action version of some of these, the movie jumps off a cliff when it comes to quality. When you watch an animated movie, a part of believability needs to be forgotten about because we can't actually have talking animals. It's easier to forget we were watching lions talking or enchanted objects talking because This is animation, and we are entranced by the world made for us. Then we end the movie wishing this world was a reality because of the humanity each of these movies brings with their themes. When we go to the live-action animated Lion King, yeah, it's basically just animation again, but tried to look like live action. We immediately are put off by the real talking Simba and don't want to buy into this world because it's creepy as hell and it's just substantially worse than the original. So we just don't buy into it and don't want to see more. Movies like these remakes prove that animation isn't a gimmick. It isn't just a children's art form and needs to be taken seriously. Like, every iconic scene in The Lion King is just worse in the remake. Scar's song is forgotten about. Beyonce doesn't even sing a song as Nala, but just a random travel song. Like, every decision was made wrong because you cannot top the original. But also, what the original did with animation can't be replaced with real cameras. Movies like The Incredibles can be released in the same year as Shark Tale, and both can be nominated for Best Animated Picture. One of the greatest movies ever made should not be seen in the same regard as this sorry excuse of a DreamWorks animated movie. This is why animation is so undervalued, because these two movies aren't anywhere close in quality, but somehow are seen as close competitors. I want to see movies like Pulp Fiction, The Godfather, Indiana Jones's animated movies. What these movies can do with this medium is always forgotten or overlooked, but the human element of these animated movies isn't lost or seen as a lesser value just because it's animation. Why do we see kids' movies only as animation, and then when we grow up, we're never supposed to watch any animated movies? Maybe this whole rant was just a way for me to normalize the fact that I'm 21 and would prefer to watch Moana over The Godfather because I love Disney animation this much. I want it to be acceptable to watch Disney movies alone when I want to, but also have animation be respected and used more. There's no reason why something like Jumanji, a movie about video games, couldn't be animated and an adult film. There's no reason why we need to separate the two mediums for the type of audience. Yes, most kids' films are great to watch at any age, but it doesn't mean animation is reserved for kids' films alone. Kids do not need to take the entire medium away from some of the greatest directors ever because Walt Disney only made kids' movies 80 years ago, which reserved the medium for kids only, I guess? Just because kids' books are so similar to animation doesn't mean I don't like a picture book as an adult. It makes reading easier. But in all seriousness, this art form is so undervalued because Hollywood decided the rules from 80 years ago that no one ever pushed the boundaries and dared to try animation for their R-rated movie like Wolf of Wall Street need to stay. I promise, nothing will be lost if it's animated. It's been proven time and time again that animation can make a movie just as powerful, if not more, than traditional movies, because at the end of the day, if a movie is great, it doesn't matter what it's made on. People will watch it.
Oh my.
I was on TV!
Thank you guys for watching. No, this is a lot shorter than normal. I just needed to get a video out there, basically. I'm still working on this really long video that'll be like, I don't know, like an hour, I feel like. So be prepared for that. That might come out in a month. That might come out in half a year. I really don't know. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.